Stick around and I'll show you how to stream your Teams meetings to your favourite social media sites. Hi guys, it's Connor DC from Collab365, and today we're going to be showing you how to use OBS Studio with Microsoft Teams. Now there's a few reasons why you would want to use OBS with Microsoft Teams, and that is to get a professional looking presentation in your Microsoft Teams meetings, and also you can use it to stream directly from Microsoft Teams to your favourite streaming platforms such as Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and a bunch of other ones, but they're going to be the main two that we're going to be talking about today. So the first thing that we are going to do is we're going to download OBS Studio, and we are going to download the OBS Virtual Camera plugin. You can find these on the internet just by going to head to Google, and we're just going to type in OBS project, and it's going to be the first link, and we're going to choose our operating system. For me it's going to be Windows, and your download will begin down here. Once that's downloaded, you're going to run through the installer, just click next a bunch of times and close that. The second thing you're going to need was the OBS Virtual Camera. So I'm going to cancel that as I already have it on the system. So we're going to search for OBS Virtual Camera, and it's going to be the top link here, and it should take you to the resources page of OBS, and on here you'll see a download button. Go to download. It'll download as the previous one did. So once these are on the system, we need to open up OBS Studio. And this is our main OBS window. I'm going to delete these as we'll get to those a little bit later. So your screen will look something very similar to this. You'll have no scenes and no sources. So I'm just going to really run down a few little things in the UI which you'll need to get to grips with. So down at the bottom here we have the scenes panel, and within the scenes panel it's going to allow you to create little scenes windows which you can alternate between, and you can put different things on each of the scenes windows. Each of the things are going to be called sources, which you can find in the sources panel, again down below. You have your audio mixer, which is where you can control the volume outputs for each of your devices. So that's going to be your microphone, any of your video sources that you have, any sources that has audio will show up down here, and I'm going to go through that a bit later. You have scene transitions, again, which we'll go through later. It's just a way of switching between scenes and making it look pretty. So the first thing we want to do is go to the Settings tab down in the bottom right hand corner here, and we're going to make a few adjustments just so we can begin using OBS more efficiently. So we're going to go to the Video tab, and under here we're going to make sure the output scaled resolution is set to your native display resolution of your computer screen, which in my case is 1920 by 1080p, and I'm going to set the FPS value to 60. Anything higher than that is really irrelevant, and anything lower than that is not going to be ideal for what we're going to be using OBS Studio for. After we've done this, we're going to go to Output, and we're going to make sure that the video bitrate is at 3500. I think it's set to 2500 by default. And I'm going to set the recording format to MP4. This basically allows us that if we do record in OBS Studio, it basically makes it a lot easier to manage in any like third-party editing software, such as like Premiere Pro or Camtasia. And with that for now, we're just going to click OK. So before we get started making any like integrations with Microsoft Teams, we're going to just quickly get to grips with the scenes and sources. So like I said, a scene is going to give you different windows which you can use. So we have our first scene here. I've just named this one camera, and I'm just going to add my webcam. So I'm going to do this by clicking on the little plus icon down in the sources here and selecting video capture device. A video capture device is any device which is sending a video input to your computer, such as a webcam or a capture card or anything like that. So I'm going to name this one webcam and click OK. It's going to bring up my webcam by default, as that's what's defaultly selected in Windows at the moment. And because I know my webcam is actually a widescreen webcam, I'm just going to change that. So under the resolution here, I'm going to select custom and select the resolution to 1280 by 720. And that's just allowed it to use the maximum resolution that it can. We don't need to change any other settings here, so we'll just click OK. So you see our webcam's now appeared in our broadcast window. So we can move this around by clicking and dragging. We can also snap it to different corners and scale up and down. But because this is going to be just the scene for just the camera itself, I'm going to click on it, right click, go to transform, and I'm going to fit to screen. And that's going to automatically scale it to the screen size itself. So now we have our first scene created and our first source. We're just going to go ahead and just create a few more scenes just to show you how the interface works in OBS. So down in the Scenes tab down here, we're going to hit the plus icon, and I'm going to name this one Camera plus Video. And as you see, now it's selected, we have a blank canvas to work in. Because we're going to be using our camera again and a video, I'm just going to bring in our camera. Now the settings are already saved, so if I go back to the camera here, all of the properties, if I right click on it and click properties, all of the properties of the camera are saved, which means that we can use exactly this webcam without having to make any more adjustments by going back to our camera and video, adding a source, and the video capture device as before, and this time select add existing and webcam. Hit OK, and we have that webcam again. So for this one, I know that I want to put this down in the bottom right corner down here, because I want a video to show over the top. So to add a video, we're going to add another source, and we're going to select media source, and I'm going to type in Mark's video. Okay, so now we know that Mark's video is going to be assigned to this one. Brings up a new window, and in here you'll see local file, and then we click browse, and we can just browse to our video, which is saved in storage videos. Yeah, so we're going to use the Globacon 2 Ultimate Bundle video, where he just basically explains a few things about the All Access Pass that we have. So I'm going to select that and hit open. And I'm also going to make sure that restart playback when source becomes active is enabled. And what that's going to do is whenever I switch to this scene, it's going to play the video from the beginning, so we don't want it playing halfway through, or if we've used it and then we come back to it, like it's not going to be very handy. If you don't want to use that, just untick it, but for the purpose of this video, I think it's going to be very useful. Everything else we can leave. We can adjust the speed if we wanted to, but again, we're not going to mess with any of that sort of stuff at the moment. So we can click OK, and you can see that his video is now in our scene. Webcam's disappeared, and that's because it's fallen underneath this layer. So we just bring that layer to the top, the webcam layer, and it brings that webcam back over the top. So Mark's video is playing in the background, and at the moment you're not going to be able to hear any audio. The way to get around this problem is by clicking on the little cogwheel under the audio mixer here, and going to Advanced Audio Properties, and then under Mark's video, we can select monitor to monitor only.
Then the earlier you get it there, the cheaper you're going to get it, because you're going to get all of the content.
Which is actually paying for my speakers, which you won't be able to hear in the video. But that's how you bring audio into the video. So we're going to close off that now. And that's that source selected. So we go back to the camera, and I'm going to add a new scene here. I'm going to call it camera plus browser. So we can also add a web page, a functional web page to our scene. So we've created a new scene, which means there'll be nothing on it. Again, we want to bring in a camera, which we'll do by doing exactly what we did before with an existing webcam. I'm going to place that. Just down here, and I'm going to add a browser source. So we'll do this by going to the plus icon and going to browser. I'm going to call this events page. It's always good to name your stuff so you know what you can bring up when you want to show people things without cycling through 500,000 different scenes trying to figure out what it is you want to show somebody. So it's just going to bring up a simple browser to start off with. I'm going to change the width to 1920 by 1080, just so it scales to our canvas size. And I'm also going to put in the web page that I want to show, which is the events page for Collab 365. And hit OK. Again, just bring the webcam over the top, just by dragging. So now we have our browser page in OBS. Now you can't really do much with it at the moment apart from drag it around, but OBS has got a really cool feature where you can interact with the browser plugin. So do this by clicking on the browser plugin, and you can right click and go to interact down here at the bottom. It's going to bring up this new window, which they won't be able to see on any of the streams or using the OBS Virtual Camera. But within this, you can basically choose any of the settings up here. So you can like scroll down the page. You can go to different web pages. It's just a great way of interacting with a browser without actually having to leave OBS Studio. So you can focus more on your presentation side of things rather than switching between multiple different windows for your web pages and your presentations and videos and stuff. So we'll close that for now. So we've created a few different scenes now with a few different sources, and you can change this literally just by clicking on the scene. As you notice, it's sliding to the left, and that's because in the scene transitions down here on the right, I have it set to swipe. You can also set it to fade, so when you switch, you'll just fade between them. And you can set the duration in milliseconds of the transitions. If I wanted like a really long swipe, I could set this to 3000 milliseconds, which is 3 seconds. And then when I do a swipe here, it'll be a really slow swipe. So you can pull off some like really interesting effects in the scenes transition down here on the right. So that's a basic overview of the OBS interface. It's also worth pointing out that you can save your scene selection here. So say for example you wanted to create multiple different presentations for different meetings within OBS. You can go up to the scene selection here and you can export your scene collection. It'll save as a file which you can then import again at a later date. That way you're not got hundreds of different scenes here which you can get really overly confused about. So yeah, that's everything you need to know to get started with OBS Studio. So hopefully you've got to grips with how to navigate around the user interface with OBS Studio. We're going to look now at using the OBS Virtual Camera in our Microsoft Teams meetings. So we've got the plugins that we need, and that's the OBS Virtual Camera, and I'm going to show you how to set that up and basically set that up with OBS and Microsoft Teams. So you need to go ahead and open OBS Studio. So these are the scenes that we made earlier, so we're going to scrap these for now. I'm just going to remove all of these. We won't be using any of those at the moment. We're going to be creating a new setup for that one. So we're going to go up to the top here, and we have the Tools menu, and you want to click on Virtual Cam. So by default this is not set up like this. You'll have it's something similar to this. So I'm going to make sure that Auto Start is enabled, and I'm going to turn on horizontal flip, and you'll see why when we start showing text from like browser sources and stuff, because it's all backwards. So horizontal flip basically turns that background into a way that you can actually read it. So the buffered frames we're going to set to 0 because we want 0 latency. This only really plays in effect if you're using this to actually stream. It'll basically record like dropped frames and lag for the end user, the person who's viewing you, but we don't need to worry about that. So we'll set buffered frames to 0. I'm going to set the target camera to OBS camera. So with these settings as they are, we can go ahead and click start. And what that's doing is it's now running a virtual webcam in the background. To activate this in Microsoft Teams, we're going to go ahead and open up our Microsoft Teams window. Just drag that in here for you. So we've got our Microsoft Teams window, and we're going to go ahead and go to our little icon up at the top right here, and click on Settings. And under Settings, we're going to go to Devices, and under the camera, we're going to select our OBS camera. So at the moment, the preview is showing a blank screen, and that's because if we open up OBS, we don't have anything in our broadcast window. So we need to start adding things in our broadcast window that we actually want to use. So I can go ahead and close this now. I'm just going to throw this back out of the way over here. So we're going to start adding things to our broadcast window, and let's have a look what we're going to be adding. Okay, so back in OBS we're going to create 2 scenes. You can create as many as you like, but just for the purpose of our Teams meeting presentation, I'm going to create 2 scenes. The first one, I'm going to rename this, and I'm going to call this one opening screen. And the second one, I'm going to name presentation. So in the opening screen, this is going to be like the first screen which I'm going to show people in my meeting that arrive to my meeting. It's basically going to say what the meeting's going to be about, maybe have a few images in there, and I think we'll just leave it at that. We don't need our webcam for that one, so for this I'm going to add a text GDI source, and I'm going to name this title. And for the title, I'm going to call this one Demonstration of the Use of OBS with Microsoft Teams. You can see it's gone massively over the page, so we're going to scale this down to something like 72 should be fine. And I can go ahead to scroll down and change a bunch of other options in here. So I can change the colour, I can add outlines, I can add gradient effects. Which for simplicity, we're just going to change the colour. So I'm going to change the colour to a nice orange colour. And we'll leave it at that for now. So I'm going to just drag this into roughly here of my scene. And we're going to add a bunch of images. So I'm going to get a background image, and to make it look fairly pleasable to the eye, I'm going to add 2 logos just to kind of give an insight into what this meeting's supposed to be about. So I'm going to go ahead here to the sources and add an image. I'm going to call this background. And I'm going to select the image file here, click in Browse, and I'm going to find a background which I've used previously throughout GlobalCon 2. So we'll find that. I think it's under the build. I'm going to use Asset 2 there. So I'm going to use this background. I'm just going to drag the title over the top, just so it appears as there's layers, which I discussed in the scenes and sources part of this video. So we've got our text and we have a background. We want to add 2 more images, so I'm going to add OBS logo. Again, find the logo wherever it's going to be. I think it's, just bear with me 2 seconds. Yeah, so we're going to use the OBS logo here. And I'm just going to scale that down. And we're going to add another logo, and it's going to be the Teams logo. Select Browse and choose your file. Scale this down to roughly the same size. That'll do. And then we can just position everything how we want it. So yeah, that's going to be our opening screen. So our webcam's going to be active in our Teams meeting. So when everybody joins the meeting to see what's obviously happening, this is going to be the first screen that they see. So we can go ahead and create our second screen now, which is going to be the presentation. So when the meeting actually starts, everybody's in and they're obviously waiting for it to start. We can then switch over to our presentation scene. This is where our presentation will begin. We're going to have our camera and our PowerPoint presentation. I'm going to show you how to put those into your scene. So we're going to go ahead and click on the presentation scene. I can speed this up actually because transitions are really slow. Increase that to 500 milliseconds, which is going to be a lot quicker between the scenes. If you wanted to know how to do the scene transitions, I go into it a little bit more in the scenes and sources part of this series of videos, so you can go and watch it there. So we're in the sources here, and the first thing I'm going to do is add our camera. So to add a camera, we do as we have done previously. So we're going to go to Video Capture Device and select, rename this to Webcam. And as I always do, I'm going to set the resolution to custom and set the highest resolution, that my camera can do. This webcam does have weird issues with exposure, so if it looks like it's dying out and coming back in, it's just a weird webcam issue. But we'll leave that down in the bottom right corner down there. And we want to add our presentation. So I have the presentation, it's a really simple presentation in my Teams at the moment, which is this one. It's basically got 2 slides. So we've got my presentation, just a title slide, and then a second slide, just so you can see the difference between the 2 slides. And the way I'm going to broadcast this is not using Microsoft Teams itself. I'm going to go ahead to the More Options button up at the top right here, and I'm going to click Open in Browser. And the reason being is I'm able to then grab a browser link to the presentation, which allows me to interact with it within OBS. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my link here. So easiest way to do this is go to Share here and then Copy Link. So I can get rid of this now. Close that, and I'm just going to move this back out of the way. So back in OBS here, we're going to add another source, add the browser, and I'm going to name this one presentation. That's already in use. We'll call it PowerPoint. And I'm going to set the native resolution, which is 1920 by 1080. That'll probably be similar for most people, unless you're running a 4K monitor, then you'll want to change that. I think I did go into depth again in that in the scenes and sources part of the video previously. So yeah, we're going to go to URL. So we've got a URL copied, so we can paste that in here, and that's all we need to do for this. We're going to click OK, and it's already actually saved us the hassle of logging in. So what usually tends to happen is our browser plugin within OBS will ask you to basically log in again, even if you're logged in through your Microsoft Edge or Google Chrome browsers or any other browser, because it's a separate browser, so it doesn't use any of the information that your normal browsers will use. I already have myself saved and logged in from a previous video, so yeah, if that's the case, then you can literally just right click, click interact, and then you'll be able to type in your username and password when it prompts you for it. So yeah, what we're going to do, is going to grab the webcam, bring it over the PowerPoint, just so we can actually see ourselves. And obviously we've got all this user interface from PowerPoint, which we don't want to do. So I'm going to show you how to basically broadcast this so it looks a lot nicer. So the way to do this in OBS is using the interact function. So we click on our PowerPoint source, you right click and select interact, and this brings up a new window where we can switch between slides and basically change any of the information within it from this window. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to slideshow, and I'm going to play from beginning. So now we have full access to our PowerPoint presentation without having to leave OBS itself. So there's no switching windows, having loads of different user interfaces up on the screen. It's all just within OBS. So it's a really smart way of doing it. So once I've run through my presentation, I can do this by clicking back, forwards, and they're literally only going to see this presentation with my webcam. And that's how we integrate a presentation into OBS and get it onto Teams. So once we've got our presentation set up, I'm just going to interact and go back to the beginning of this. So we're going to go back into Microsoft Teams and go to the calendar, and I'm just going to click Meet Now. And now it is showing, let's snap this to the left here, and I'm going to bring up my OBS window on the right. So yeah, it's showing our presentation as a webcam, so this is what people are going to see when they join us, and we can literally leave it as that at the moment. So yeah, and the way I would tend to run my presentation is however many screens you've got here. I'm just going to add a blank scene. If it's in the normal mode, basically if you select each scene, it will instantly transition between them for everybody else to see. Now what I tend to do is run studio mode. Run studio mode, and what this does is allows you to pre-edit and get your scenes ready before you actually show them to your audience. So for example, at the moment they can see a demonstration on the use of OBS with Microsoft Teams, and say for example I wanted to prepare this presentation, get it ready, get it in full screen, I can do so in here without them actually like seeing it. As soon as I'm ready to show them what I want them to view, I can go ahead and click transition here, and now that puts that screen on the screen for them, and then I can go ahead and edit the next one if I wanted to by selecting it. I don't know, so for example I wanted to add my webcam, we'll just do that. I'll select transform and just quickly fit to screen. So again, they can only see the presentation here, and then now I've just quickly set this scene up for switching. I can just hit transition, and it brings this one in as my new scene. So that's how you can make OBS work really nicely with Microsoft Teams. And we'll move on to the next part. So to get started broadcasting, first of all we need to bring Teams into OBS. Now the best way to do this is in the sources panel in OBS, click the plus icon, and we're going to insert a window capture, and we're going to name this one to Microsoft Teams. And by using the window capture, it's going to allow us to record a specific window. Even if we tab out of that window, it's still going to be showing as the source in OBS. So we're going to select this from the window here. We've hit the drop down and we've got teams.exe. The program has to be opened for this to work. So we're going to select teams.exe. So now it's going to capture everything that we are showing in Teams. If we hit OK. So basically I don't have a meeting set up at the moment. I have a pre-recorded meeting, but it's going to work in the same way. So I'm going to explain how you will do it. When you enter a Teams meeting, you'll click the little 3 dots at the bottom of your Teams meeting, and then you'll enter full screen, and then that gets rid of all the Teams UI interface from the screen. So you'll only see basically everyone's webcam or whatever the live meetings, like whatever's happening in the live meeting. So this is how your Teams meeting is going to start appearing in OBS. And we can build upon this within OBS. So we can add titles, logos, bottom thirds, anything like that. So at the moment, I'm just going to start off by adding some text. So we'll add a text GDI. I've already made a few of these. So I'm just going to load in Hugo's one. And basically all this is a text GDI. If I show you the properties, with his name, and I'm using just a background color and just moving the opacity up to 100%, and then that's just going to allow me to just add a bit of edge to the background. So I'm going to click OK, and then I'm going to do the same for the other two. So I have already made these just to make this process a lot quicker. So I'm just going to bring this in over here, and you can just align it by using the arrow keys on your keyboard. There we go, that looks perfect to me. Text GDI again, and I'm going to bring in Mark. And Helen down here, I'm just going to change into another image. She didn't have a webcam on at the time, so I'm just going to use this as a good excuse to show you how you can import images and show other information. You could put a video here as well, so we'll go to image, and we're going to select the first image, which is our Color 365 logo. For GlobalCon 2, just going to chuck that in there, and I'm going to bring in another image, and it's going to be image 2, I believe, which is a background. Scale that down. We'll move that in there as well. So if you've watched the scenes and sources part of this video, you'll know how to add images and stuff like that. So I'm just going to drag that one underneath, and I'm just going to scale this so it looks reasonably okay. And then again, using the arrow keys, I'm just going to kind of align it up so it looks right. And that will do. I'm just going to scale this down a bit because the image is slightly off. Yeah, we'll go with that. And then finally, I'm just going to add our watermark just over the top, which is this one. And we'll just scale that down as well. Not sure why this one's so big. I'm just going to scale that down and chuck that up in the top left corner there. So that's how our stream is going to look when we start broadcasting that to Facebook and YouTube. And I'm also going to show you Restream as well. So once this is in place, we need to go ahead and grab our RTMP URL from Facebook, YouTube, Restream, however you want to broadcast your stream. And you also need to grab the stream key. It's good to point out that you do not want to share any of the information with anybody else. The reason being is because anyone with access to your stream key and your URL will be able to stream onto your page or wherever you're streaming. It's not really ideal, so only give that out to people that you are happy to like stream onto your social media pages. So next up, we're going to go ahead and grab these pieces of information from our Facebook site. We'll start with Facebook first. So we're just going to head over to Facebook, and I'm just going to go to a page that I made a couple of years ago, which I don't really use anymore. And the best way to find your stream key is just here. So it says create live. If it's not here, it'll be in the create post section under live video. So I'm just going to go ahead and click live. It's going to generate our live stream. And when you go to use stream key here, it'll show you your server URL and your stream key. Now I'm not going to be showing you these will be blurred out in the video. But basically you want to copy these and move them into OBS. So I'm going to use Notepad just to copy these into there. So we'll copy the stream URL for Facebook, and we'll copy the stream key. Okay, and now what you want to do with this information is we can just quickly pop over to this quickly. So yeah, we can go over to OBS and go to our settings down in the bottom right, and then you want to go to the stream tab. I've already put this in here, so you want to put the RTMP server into the server bar and the stream key into the stream key bar. Once you've done that, you hit apply and hit OK. I recommend using the custom. Apparently there's a lot less delay within your stream, so there's better interaction with your viewers as well. You can use any of the presets, and basically I think what the presets do is just holds the server information for you, so you don't have to get that. It's just the stream key that you need to change. But yeah, I prefer to use custom, and then we'll click OK. So what will happen now is you want to click start streaming, and that doesn't actually mean you've gone live, but what it means is that this image here, this scene that we've got, is being broadcasted to Facebook, but you haven't actually gone live in Facebook yet. So we can see that we're live down in the bottom right here. We can see that the connection is really good. CPU usage is really good, so we don't need to worry about any issues with the stream. And to go back to here, we can set up our title, so we'll put in test and description. I'm just going to write something. I'm just going to publish as a test broadcast because I don't want anybody else seeing what we're doing with this at the moment. So now we can see that our OBS stream is streaming to Facebook here, and we can just click go live down here. For my case, it's going to be start test, and that's going to basically start streaming. So in terms of the RTMP URL and the stream key, it's exactly the same for YouTube. I'm just going to show you how to go ahead and grab your YouTube one now. So I'm going to head over to youtube.com. Once you're logged in, we're going to go up here to the top right corner and hit create, and then go live. It's going to take you to YouTube Studio for the live streaming. Just going to dismiss that. We're going to create a title name for our stream, and then I'm just going to hit private. Don't want anyone else to see this right now. And click create stream. So now I'll be greeted with this window, and you'll find your stream URL here, and your stream key is here. This one's hidden. So you just want to copy these and put them into the same values that was being asked for in the stream tab of the settings in OBS. So finally, I'm going to show you how Restream works. Now Restream is really clever. So you can stream to Restream, and Restream itself will stream out to 40 or 50 different social media sites that you want to stream to. It's really handy. You can choose which ones it does stream to and which ones it doesn't. The only flaw with using Restream is there is like double the delay, because you're obviously streaming to a platform which is then streaming out to a secondary platform. So there will be maybe a 15-20 second delay by using this, but I'll show you why it's really useful. So we head over to Restream.io. And we'll go and log in or create an account. Once you create an account, you can log in and go to destinations here. And other than the destinations, you can add a channel, and there's so many different ones that you can add. So we've got Facebook Live, Twitch if you wanted to, YouTube Live, LinkedIn Live as well. There's loads of them on here. I've already got them set up at the moment. So basically what you'd be doing to set these up is grabbing your stream keys from where we found them in Facebook, where we found them in YouTube, and then just putting them into here. And then what you want to do with this is then use the RTMP server and stream key from Restream and put that into your OBS settings. Now the really great thing about using Restream as well is there is a chat tab up here on the left hand side. And we're just going to open it in browser just so I can show you. You can download it for Windows if you wanted to. It's a pretty good plugin. But we're going to open it in browser. And what this will do is it will show you your message feed from all of your social media platforms that you're streaming to. So you'll get all of your chat from Facebook, all of your chat from YouTube, all of your chat from LinkedIn. So you can like monitor and answer questions like live throughout all of those platforms without having multiple windows open. You can just select to see just one of them, but it's useful just to have them all open. So yeah, that's why I would use Restream. So just to recap on everything we've just gone over. So we've grabbed our stream key from YouTube for this one, which is our stream URL and our stream key. We've gone into OBS, gone to settings, gone to stream, and put in our information up here. Pressed apply and OK. We've hit start streaming on the panel down in the right, and then what that does is it sends the video source to YouTube so we can see it now in YouTube, and then all you have to do to go live is just press the big go live button up at the top here. There'll be similar buttons for whatever streaming platform you're using. But yeah, that's how you bring a Microsoft Teams meeting into your social media as a live broadcast.